Welcome, guys. And yes, the dogs are back. So is Loco. But we all know we're all here for the dogs. That's what life is all about. So, hey, gang, how are y'all doing? Oh my God, I have missed. What a last week this has been. It's probably been the most amazing week I've had getting to meet a bunch of people that I absolutely adore. It's got me thinking about so many other people that I want to meet, and oh God, it just yes, dogs, I hear you guys. And also love you all tons and tons. And I'm so happy I'm back into the swing of things. All I could think of on the plane day before yesterday was, okay, I can finally get to hang out with it. Okay, Cassie. Oh my gosh, I should not have brought their favorite treats. That was not a good idea. So, anyhow, yes, it's been way too long. Way too long. What I'm going to do something a little different while I say hi to everyone. I always think, you know what, I need to get this stuff up ASAP so people can see who it is we're going to be talking about. But I do want to say hi and welcome to so many people that I haven't got to see in like a whole week. And also, oh my God, Seal, the dogs were ridiculous. I'm actually gonna be posting video. I videotaped them as I came in. They were nuts. They were absolutely nuts. So, but right now I'm giving them their favorite. They love these chicken jerky recipe ones from Milo's Kitchen. Yes, I'm not sponsored by them, but it's great stuff. And oh my God, they just love it. So, in the meantime, while we're letting you good old YouTube get all the notifications out and all, let me say hi to a couple people who've been popping on in. First of all, Miss Princess Megan, love you, my dear. Yes, as soon as I got everything scheduled, I came back and I'm like, yeah, there's Princess. Oh my God. I really honestly miss seeing you guys. And my energy level has been down today. Actually, I slept all day yesterday. And mom's still sleeping downstairs. And just coming all of a sudden now my energy's through the roof. So yeah, sorry, I'm Getty. What can I say? And there's Chris. Chris has a new name here, just plain Chris rather than Chris G. So hello, 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 Chris. I hope you had a great Easter. As I try to shut up these dogs real quick. And who we got next? We had Seal. Oh, I'm so happy to be back with you all. And Miss BC, how are you doing, Miss BC? I hope you had a good weekend too. Easter, I hope everyone's Easter was awesome. Okay, that y'all got to relax, spend time with your family, your friends, and just have that special time with people because that's what these holidays are all about is that. So, my dear sleuth mom, I love you, my dear. Love you, love you, love you. And then we got your local bacterium. Every time your name pops up, I love that. It's like, okay, do I say your local or bacterium? Whatever. I just say it all. It works out. So, love you, my dear. Who else do we got here? Let's see. Did I miss? I know Cristola's there. Oh, there's Miss Sherry. And I just saw you just sent me back a reply. I'll get back to you, Sherry, as soon as we're done with all this. So, and I'll love you though, tons. And I'll be talking to you in a few. Um, who else we got? I know I saw Cristola here somewhere. I just haven't gotten her on this list here. Sky Maiden is here. How you doing, Sky Maiden? And there is Cristola. And in the bushes, hey, how you doing, my dear? Sorry, not to get treats. They're getting jealous. Someone's getting really jealous. Hey, stop it, Cassie. Yes, Cassie is definitely in the Diva Pita mode right now, so I'm going to keep her mouth as quiet as possible, which takes these. So, okay, let's see. Said hi to dear Cristola, and I know I saw someone else that I missed. Who is it I missed? Oh my, Jane, there you are, Jane's Ivy. I'm like, I know I saw Jane there. Where's her message? Hello and welcome, my dear. And let's see. Perfect. I think we've got everyone here for right now. Oh, Jane, it was the most. People tell you you can't create friends on YouTube. You can. You truly can. Yes, friendship is a continuum. It's a spectrum of its own. but you really honestly can. There, I was a nervous wreck meeting these people for the first time. I really was. Especially people that I absolutely adore. I was like, are they going to be the same person? Am I going to be who they expect? All these things. And they were exactly, I love, oh my God. He's my brother. He's my brother. And also, it's just been, I've already been talking to a few people in this community saying we need to find ourselves a nice little bed and breakfast type place and figure out something for the future for all of us. So, and oh, did I miss B Tim in here? There's B Tim. Hello, Tim. How you doing, my dear? So yeah, it was a great trip. I'm exhausted though. I will be honest. I am freaking exhausted. The wedding was absolutely beautiful, Sherry. It was so, oh my gosh. I cried like a baby the whole time. Robbie cried. Beginning, I couldn't believe that. That I was like, what is that, Robbie? And it was just truly, it was a great event. It was a great event. And it showed me so much about the people that make up this community and who they really are down deep in their hearts. And he was Jane. Oh, he was your first channel you subbed. See that? Oh, Chris Watts days. Oh my gosh. Yep, those days. It's amazing how quickly years go by. And also, yeah, it was a wonderful thing. I cried, I don't know how many times. As you guys know, I was the last one to leave. So every day someone would leave, and I just felt things getting smaller and emptiness kind of filling in and filling in. And then it was just me, other than Amber, who of course is there. So, and oh, Sky Maiden. Yeah. The wedding watching, I actually came home from the wedding that night and I kind of watched real quickly the replay of it because I wanted to see, okay, chat and who was there and all that because I missed you guys. I was there, but I missed you guys. And that was the way, at least I felt like I was part of that on that level. Also, it was cool. So we will definitely be talking about this for weeks and months to come. I guarantee you, Cantina will probably be heavily, this Friday, Cantina will probably heavily be the wedding. I guarantee you that. And Crystal Loco, like the season finale of The Real World with people with, yes, exactly. Jane was watching, see, it was just amazing. And I'm going to go rewatch the professional version of it because Robbie was able to post that. But okay, that should give us plenty of time for people to come in and all that. And plus, I wanted to talk, so I got both things done at once. Um, as I came back yesterday, I was like, okay, we got to get back into the swing of things. I've got to find, okay, there's so many people. Even when I was in Vegas, I was talking to people, okay, about the channel and covering missing people and stuff like that. And for example, Vegas has so many people that are missing out of that area. And we all know that it's a high amount of trafficking and things like that going on there. And it was never far from my mind. But then yesterday, I'm like, okay, I need to start looking for someone. And Christopher popped up in my searches yesterday. Well, actually, guys, this morning. Um, Christopher has been missing for way too long for him not to be being covered by more and more people. Okay, I'm going to preface this saying this. You guys know how I feel. Okay. I I support our law enforcement. I do. Okay, I have some of my closest friends who are law enforcement and they work their butt off. But there are times that we have to, if we're doing due diligence, you have to look at a full story and you've got to look at everything that happened. And sometimes those red flags do pop up, okay, and make you wonder is something else going on. This is one of those cases. I don't know. I'm not a mind reader. All I can do is follow the facts as I see them right now, knowing police may have more facts than I do. But it's something that all of us tend to do, especially in true crime. And when we're looking for a young man like this, a family man, he truly, we're going to actually talk a little bit about who he is also, because that's what it comes down to. Okay, he is a son. He is, okay, fiance. He is a dad. He has tons of hobbies. And we're going to be, oh, you can hear the dogs barking. You know what? Did Chris kick in? You know what I just noticed? I don't think Chris kicked in. Let me do something real quickly and activate it. Hopefully it'll do real quick. Let's see there. Okay. Chris should be kicking in. Hopefully your local bacterium, they will become quiet very soon. So, by the way, hello, Kelly. How you doing, my dear? Oh, Chris, you've got a friend who does there's so much out there in Vegas, especially. Um, so as we look at this case, guys, there are going to be red flags. I can't help but say that there are red flags here. But what I'm seeing right now is a family who needs answers. This family is begging for answers, and I think the case has gotten so complicated that it's hi, I love you. Okay, stop making noise. And the case has gotten so complicated that it's making it hard for them to get the answers they need and the answers they deserve. And in the end, whatever this looks like, justice for him, finding him and bringing him home. And that's what it comes down to, is bringing him home to his children, to his loved ones. Hello, Katie K, my dear. Love you, my dear. So I've got a lot of information on this case. This family gang is really, they're the ones we talk about. It's so sad. Sometimes you get some people who are missing and no one seems to be championing them. This family is championing their loved one. They are trying everything in their power, calling everyone, being the squeaky wheel, all those things. And now it's time for us all to start. And people have. There's been some great channels that have really tried to cover this. And we just need to help them out at this time. So as we go through this, I am going to ask people, let's be respectful of the family. Let's be respectful of law enforcement, because we don't know what happened, even though we are going to be looking at red flags. Okay, and it is a rough case because it did start off with a traffic stop that went bad. And also there's a lot of weird places here, but we can deal with it with respect. And also, Christopher Miller is a 27-year-old who actually went missing back in November 19th, 20th. Okay, it was early in the morning, like 2:30 in the morning. And yes, thank you, Christola. You are always right on it, girl. There is a really good Facebook group about Christopher's disappearance. Tons of audio. I'm not sharing all the audio today just because there was so much. And I mean, I can do that. People get interested. We can definitely go through all that. But please feel free to go to that channel to learn more about his disappearance. I ask you, please be respectful of the family, okay, if you're coming from this community. And because that's what they need us to help support them right now. And so Christopher, when he went missing, he was 27 years old. I think he's still 27. He's 6 foot tall, 175 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. He has a tattoo on his chest that says the name Tammy, which I take it is his mom's name. I do know his mom's name is Tammy. So my suspicion is the tattoo is for his mom. He also has a scar that is on his thumb. He was last seen wearing black Nike sweatsuit and black and gray Nike Air Max sneakers. Guys, this was in late November in Wisconsin. It was freaking cold. He did not have a winter jacket or anything like that with him. So there's a lot of concerns after he went missing, what all happened next, because he was not wearing clothes for being missing. Okay, he did not have his phone. We'll go through all that. Okay, his phone was not with him at the time of his disappearance. So there's a lot of big concerns here. He was last seen by the Wisconsin State Patrol. We're going to go through it. We're actually going to go through the Google Earth. I pulled together a little quick map of exactly what happened when he went missing. He had been pulled over police were pulling him over for a speeding violation, and he took off for one reason or another. He took off. And as he took off to turn, he hit a light post, and then he continued driving until the point where his car could not go any further. And at that point, he got out. They tried to stop him. He ran. Okay, so as the family says, there's no excuse for that. Okay, that's wrong. It's wrong to do that. And we don't know what was in his head at the time or anything like that, but that was the choice he made. The thing is, now he is missing, and we need to find him. Okay, it's like we talk about with runaways, like we talk about with trafficking victims, sex workers, things like that. It does not matter what happened when it led up to them going missing. It's the fact that they're missing now, and they need to be brought home. Exactly, Seal. And that's where some of the red flags do come into play. And that's where I don't want to point fingers because I don't know the truth. I'm not a mind reader. I am not. All we can do is ask to try to get as much information so the family feels that they've got answers so they can move forward. And because living with a missing loved one is something I know every one of us here would never wish on anyone. Okay, we see what it does with family members, and no family should have to go through this. So, so everything happened. He was not from this area. He went missing from an area called Janesville in Wisconsin. He is not from that area. It's in Rock County in Wisconsin. He is actually from Madison, Wisconsin. But what was happening that night is that the day before, once he got home to his fiance got home, okay, and he decided to go pick up, leave the house and the kids with, okay, his fiance, and he left for Madison early in the afternoon on the 18th. Okay, heading there, he picked up his brother in Rockford from his mom's house, and if I'm getting this correct, and then went to Chicago to pick up his nephew, his brother's son. And then they went back to Rockford to mom's house to play some games. Okay. He, like most people in this age thing, including myself, and I'm not even that age group, loved to play video games. He played Madden, okay, Call of Duty on his PlayStation 4. And that's what they were doing that day. They were playing games. And they continued doing it during the day. Sometime at around 11 p.m., his fiance talked to him on the phone. And after that phone call, she fell asleep. The next thing that happened that we know is between 1:45 and 2 a.m., he picked up and he left to go home. During that drive home is when this traffic stop happened. He does not know this area, according to his fiance. He's never, okay, it's not a place like he knows someone there or anything. So why was he in the area? Maybe he had to get gas. Who knows? We're not sure at this point, but he was somewhere in that vicinity. And this whole thing started. So what I'm going to do to start this off with is this. Actually, before we do this, I want to tell you a little bit more about Christopher, because he really sounds like an awesome guy. Really does. He's a family guy. Okay, he's a father of 3. He's expecting a little girl next month. So in May, he's got a little girl coming into this world right now with his fiance. And he's not here to see this little girl be born. He's got children from 2 different relationships. He loves to work on cars. Okay, he loves to work on his cars. You know the kind of guys. My uncle's one of these. He works on cars nonstop. Rosaline, love you, my dear. I love you and I miss you and I miss giving you a big, big hug. Rosaline, I got to see in Vegas, and I miss giving her hugs already. And hugs were the name of the whole trip. Put it that way. Love you, my dear. So he loved that. He loves music, especially rap. Some of his favorite people. So for those of you who are rap group out there. Louis or Louis Ray. Sorry, I'm not a rap girl. Dame Dot, ESTG. Okay, like Sleep Well, Rosaline. Really enjoys listening to rap music. Loves sports. He's from the Chicago area, so he loves the Chicago Bears. Okay, I'm not sure how he feels about the Cubs, which my little Wrigley's named after, or anything like that, but he loves the Bears. Um, he loves, like I said, all sports, which then goes towards his gaming. He plays Madden on his PS4 all the time. He plays Call of Duty. He is a family man. His kids, his family are everything to him. His fiance said he's an amazing dad. He's the great dad. And I have, at the end of this, I have some quotes I was able to pull up off the internet of her talking about him and just what an amazing guy he really does sound like. And why would I really hope he can come home because his family does love him and miss him. So back to what we were talking about. So here we go. This is, let me switch things over. So this is Wisconsin. Okay, I'm pulling way out to give you an idea of where it is. Okay, really close to Illinois, and that's kind of how that fits, where we're talking about Rockford, Illinois, Chicago. Okay, we're right there in that area. So what happened, this whole thing started, let me pull this up here. Okay, right around this area here. Okay, he was in this vicinity and he was going north. That's where all of a sudden the police caught him with a high speed. Okay, he was speeding. Okay, he was speeding. They turned on the lights and all that to try to get him to pull over. He made the decision not to pull over, and instead he started driving up the highway, interstate, up to this area right here. Okay, he then got off of the highway. This here is, as he got off the highway, is where he hit the telephone pole. Hey there, can you guys see me? I'm not sure if you'll be able to. Please let me know if you see me. My whole internet literally just crashed on me, so I'm checking things up real quickly. Okay, I think we are back. Sorry, gang. I swear, this whole day, nothing wrong with my internet. And now all of a sudden, everything goes bye bye, loco. Goodbye, my dear. Okay, let me pull this back up, and there we go. Welcome to Hawaii, the land of the coconut wireless. The problem is the trade winds hit the coconut wireless at times, and God help us when that happens. And so let me pull up Google Earth again, and we will. I hate the internet at times. Your local bacterium, I totally. Yeah, he hit a pole. Exactly. So let's see. Is that where it cut off for you guys? That's great to know. Thank you so much in the bushes. So let me see this and pull this real quickly. Okay, we are back. Okay, yeah, Murphy's Law. Yeah, exactly. That's actually very true. And it's sad because so much happens when we don't do that. But yeah. So let's see here. Let me click this. So, as I was mentioning, and thank you in the bushes for letting me know about where we stopped and all, is as this happened, he came up here to start the turnaround and he hit a pole in that place. That definitely started, okay, the whole thing. His car was starting to break down at that point. He ended up turning around and ended up going southbound at that point. Right after passing East Avalon Road, his vehicle finally could go no longer. Okay, vehicle stops. He ends up, okay, in the car. Police are behind it. Police, and there is dash cam footage of all this stuff. Police pull out, okay, gun, tell him, okay, put his hands up, things like that. He went running. And okay, probably not the best thing. I agree. Not the best thing, but it's what happened. He ends up running at that point. That is now the last time we see him. Now, there's a lot of things happening within this whole picture. There are some concerns as to what happened once that occurred, and I'm going to share a little bit more on that story as we go through it. Did something happen, okay, as they chased him or anything like that? We don't know. There are some red flags that I feel, you guys know me. I'm not going to pull things up if I cannot verify well enough what it is I'm saying. And these do need mentioned. And however, from that night afterwards, a couple charges are brought up on him. And we will talk about this one other time. But on November 21st, a number of charges were put in to CCAP. Those included him speeding on the freeway, which is what started the whole thing, reckless driving, endangering public safety. The next one, we're not sure specifically where it comes into play and how it comes into play. I know, I love In the Bushes for keeping on tab. That's the best part of it. And he was charged with possession of an open intoxicant in a motor vehicle. Now, that could be alcohol. It could be something other than alcohol. Most likely, when they looked into his car later, they probably found something that was open in his car. Okay, so again, it could be a can of beer. It could be something more serious. We don't know. Failure to notify police of an accident. Now, the weird thing on that, I'm sorry, that one sounds kind of weird for me. Duh. Okay, the accident was the accident he was in, which he ended up running away. But anyhow, whatever. And but that one was there. And then operating a motor vehicle without a valid license. So it looks like his driver's license may have been expired at the time. So those are 5 charges that were brought up against him, okay, a day and a half later. And he, of course, was going to have court to come up on that and all, but of course, he's missing at this point. So this is where a lot of things start going. I'm going to say wrong, okay, because there were a lot of different agencies involved in this. And sometimes the more agencies you have, the less easy it is to figure out what's going on. Because if you think about, first of all, it happened on a highway. So you're dealing with highway patrol, things like that. Then you're dealing with a city and, okay, that county, another 1 to 2 different groups of people. And then as we go further on, you're going to find out where he actually ended up reported as missing is Madison, where he lives. So there's multiple agencies involved, which can be positive because it brings a lot more resources potentially. But it also can become a problem because if the wrong people are taking the lead, do they have jurisdiction? Things like that. And that's a lot of what started happening in this case. We are told that there was searches that night. That night there may have been a drone used. The family has been frustrated because they've heard a lot of these things, but they're not being shown any proof of any of these things, which makes them wonder at times, are things happening? And when you see what it is I'm going to share about later, it'll kind of make some sense. All they want to know is, we want to know that there was proof of these searches rather than just saying, oh yeah, we had a drone up that night, okay, or oh yes, we had canines these days, or stuff like that. Can they find out where? Can they have any proof of what happened? Are there shots from, okay, any of the drone footage or anything like that, just to show? That's what they want. It's comfort. If you think about it, if you were missing a loved one, you just want comfort to know that everything possible is being done. And that's how I see what they're asking right now. Louisiana girl, hey girl, I love you. Love you, LG. So that's been one of the things. And yes, there have been some things released over the last couple months, especially November, December. After that, it really kind of became, I want to say, a little almost nothing. And but there was some body cam, some dash cam footage. I'm just going to make the comment because it's out there, but I don't want to focus on this portion of it too much, because it's just part of the overall picture. Some of the footage worries me because there was potentially a lot of talking and joking about ethnicity and all, which should never be coming into play when someone's potentially being arrested. Those of you who go to the Facebook group can see those things for yourself. We can come back later and discuss things more in depth, but I'm trying to keep things very focused for this discussion. And there were searches with canines on the 25th and 27th. The family were told there were no evidence found of him. Now, something, if we're going to talk about canines and stuff, I think it's important for us to look right here. So if he ended up in this area right down here, okay, this area, anyone who has been into Wisconsin, Illinois, or anything like this, it's flat. It's farmland. There's tons of places someone, okay, I mean, cornfields, things like that. Corn is way over the head of people. Okay, so what we were told is that when he got out, he got out of his car and he crossed all of the highway and ran into this area here. Okay, and looking at this area, let's do this real quickly so you guys can kind of see what we're talking about, if it'll let me do it. Okay, this is the area we're talking. Of course, I would pick a place with a, okay, I mean, late at night, 2:30 in the morning, running around in this area, it can truly be finding a needle in a haystack. It truly needs a real search to be able to find things. Okay, if someone we don't know, if he was in a car accident, could he have been hurt? Police don't think so. They didn't see blood or anything like that, but we don't know that. Okay, what if he got halfway out into one of these fields and fell down in an open field? Exactly, Sleuth Seal, exactly. And also, there's a lot of concerns with that. Also, the other concern that popped up with this is where most of the discussion was that he got out and he crossed the highway. The actual footage from the dash cam shows him jumping and running south. Now, it's very possible the dash cam footage goes further and it shows him crossing the highway. We don't know. But with what we've gotten, it's kind of interesting how that works out, because if that's true, that he kept running straight rather than crossing the highway, he may have at some point where the camera couldn't get it, he could have crossed the other direction, and we're talking just as much open, wide fields. So it's really, it's a different thing than, say, the mountains. It needs a coordinated search. It needs FLIR cameras to check for temperature changes. Okay, it needs really coordinated things, and the problem has been there's been nothing really coordinated. The law enforcement is running on this side, families this side, and there's not been any ability to really work hand in hand on things. Even now, the family is setting up future searches completely on their own without any communication with the police department, and that we're stronger when we all work together, right? And so there's been a lot of things. Okay, they had them out. Canines were out there searching for them. No evidence. On November 28th, so about a week later, okay, Rock County handed the whole investigation over to Madison, Wisconsin. Now, what are some of the concerns with that? Well, Madison may have, okay, a larger ability workforce wise. That could be a positive there. And but on the other side, Madison is 45 minutes away from where he went missing. 45 minutes away from this area. Okay, on top of it, they have no jurisdiction in Rock County. So if there are any concerns or things that they need to work, you're dealing with jurisdiction issues to begin with. And that's what started causing a lot of problems, a lot of confusion for the family while they're trying to get information. They're trying to find out what happened to their son, their fiance, whatever it is. They're not getting any of that because there's jurisdiction issues, too many different people involved, too many counties involved. And so December 14th now, just a couple days before that, they finally entered him into NamUs. So that was the other thing. Okay, we're talking the 19th of November to December 14th, almost 1 month before he was entered into NamUs. Something that is so important because, yes, if he's running away, which is what the thought process is here, is that this guy has ran away, then you know what? Having him in the system is extremely important at this point. And waiting that long is not going to be much help whatsoever. And so next step we have is around November 23rd. So during this whole search process and stuff like that, police did find one small piece of evidence. Louisiana girl, I will repost it. It may also be pinned, by the way, LG. If not, I'll pin it, but I think it's pinned in Discord also. But if not, I'll fix that when I get back, or when we're done. And so the other thing that happened is during the initial searches, the police found one piece of evidence that they feel is connected to him. And that was a very small piece of cloth. That cloth piece was later on actually mentioned as possibly even just like threads, pretty much, that was connected, had caught onto a fence. And later on, okay, a little while later, oops, sorry, my dog's going again. And also, by the way, I'm not sure if Chris kicked back in. Let me know if it did not. And hopefully it did. This piece of clothing was finally reported to the family when the family was able to set up a meeting. Family from the get-go were trying to actually set up a meeting with the police so they had a better idea what happened. They were calling every day. They were being the squeaky wheel, squeaky wheel does get the grease, and wanting to have a meeting. So a meeting was finally called where they could meet and try to get some understanding over a lot of the information they were starting to get. And at this point, they were told about this piece of clothing that may have been his. It's not a verified that it is his, but it may have been. It was found a fair distance from where he was last seen. Hey, LM, how you doing, my dear? Love you, love you, love you, love you. My fingers are getting better at doing this, but it's still there. I love you, LM. And so police had that small piece of clothing and they had planned on sending it, last we heard, to a crime lab to look at it. Could they get any DNA from it? Because honestly, gang, if they could get DNA from that, it would tell them what direction he went. And also, it's really would be wonderful if they could pull anything from that. We don't know if anything actually came of that right now. Also, police at some point, and I'm going to start pulling in some other things here, there were a lot of concerns that things were not truly being shared. Okay, family felt a lot of stuff was being withheld. When they would receive things, it was after a lot of begging, things like that. There was a lot of redactions going on, all sorts of stuff, and they just really, you need this. This is one thing I learned working in long-term care. You really have to, when you have families that are feeling okay, that they've lost them, whether it's losing a loved one, okay, due to age in the case of long-term care, or okay, in a case like this, you know what, your mind goes all over the place. And part of our jobs in management, administration, whatever, is to help give them as much information as possible so they can be comforted and know everything is being done possible. And they did not feel like that was happening in this case. And many times that leads to worse and worse issues, because the more people think, I'm sorry, it's just normal for us as human beings. If we feel people are holding back on us, our mind goes further. And so at a certain point, after connecting in with some politicians, stuff like that, police from Janesville decided to release their records from that night. Interestingly, his name was not mentioned in those records. Let me pull this up. You should be able to hopefully see it. Yeah, it did switch. So to go through this article real quick, the Janesville Police Department is pushing back on allegations that law enforcement is withholding important information. The police department released a statement Thursday saying it had received multiple open records requests, which it believes were linked to a Facebook post. While the police department did not specifically cite which post it was referencing, one made by his fiancée on a Facebook group dedicated to finding him urged people to request records. Okay, and that's something that we find often. Okay, it's actually one of the strengths of social media. Okay, is it helps to support people who feel like they aren't getting what they need. It also helps clear up questions too, because if the information comes out, it clears up that. Interpost, okay, there's definitely the concerns that, okay, the county was claiming they had only received one open records request, and she was saying that is not true. Her post contained a link to all the open records requests for body and dash cam footage, police reports, officer weapon logs, and other potential evidence, as well as the names of officers involved in the search. She asked people to use the PDF to make requests under their own names, and that's what they did, it sounds like to me. In the statement, okay, it sounds like the police department went through all of their records doing a search by name, just like what most of us do here. You searched up for the name and stuff like that, and they couldn't find anything whatsoever. That was mostly because his name didn't show up in any of the reports, which does actually connect with some of the dash cam footage where there was joking happening as to how the name was spelled and stuff like that. In that, okay, JPD's post did find a report regarding a chase from the day he went missing and offered details of what it described as a minor incident. The police department's statement indicated one of its officers was asked to aid in a Wisconsin State Patrol pursuit of a suspect in the city. Before the officer could engage the chase, however, the fleeing vehicle had left city limits. Sometimes afterwards, according to the statement, an officer was dispatched to investigate a hit and run where the driver struck a traffic pole. We just discussed that in Janesville before getting onto I-39/90 and fleeing south. After the vehicle stopped and the driver took off on foot, a police officer responded to where the vehicle was located, took pictures of it. The JPD post indicates officers were unaware at that time that Miller was the suspected driver and therefore did not enter his name into the report. Those interactions were the department's only interaction with what happened that night, including a link to all the reports. So that started a lot of because this is the agency who specifically was involved in the chase. Okay, who would have been the ones, okay, for example, okay, pulled out the gun, things like that. So, of course, the family does, I don't blame them. They start questioning. Like I said, and I'm going to keep repeating this, okay, police officers do some of the most amazing work out there in the world. I mean, they put their life on the line every single day. And but all of us have the potential of messing up once or twice. I don't know if that happened in this case. I really don't. But we have to look at the possibilities out there. So, okay, those were all released. January 3rd came, and January 3rd is the date that he was supposed to show up at court for all the charges in connection with that. Okay, fleeing from the officers and all that other stuff, okay, the license, the intoxicant, things like that. Of course, he's missing at this point, so he didn't show up. At that point, court ordered a forfeiture and gave him 60 days to pay his fines. There has been discussion whether there were any felonies involved, and no felonies have ever been, okay, put out on this case. January 11th now. And CBS picked up this story at that time. And this is where some of the red flags became more alarming to a lot of people. Now, as I start sharing this, please realize we often are watching all this stuff as a Monday morning quarterback. Okay, it's not in the real time. So as we look at this stuff, it's important to realize real time is so much different than Monday morning quarterback. So let's come over here to the search continues. So as we go through this, okay, his car, he bolted. Okay, let's see. Okay, records the family received include a dispatch note, okay, a note from dispatch that actually states, State Patrol picked Christopher up. Okay, Mom's response to that is, what do you mean you all picked him up? Of course, he's missing, according to her. Okay, James said her quest for answers hasn't been easy because of 5 different agencies being connected to the case: Wisconsin State Patrol, Rock County, Janesville, Dane County, and now Madison. Madison police are in charge of the case despite having no role in the chase, traffic accident, or search. When they were asked, why would Madison volunteer to use their resources to be lead if they were not involved in the first place? Okay, Madison said, well, we made a judgment decision, I guess. Okay, someone needed to be a point of contact between departments, and Madison is Miller's home. I also suspect, no problem, Christola. I also suspect from listening to what I did listen is that I have a gut feeling Madison really wanted the family to have someone that they could speak to, maybe. And that might have been part of the initial thought process. I don't know, but I could see that because it seems that the family felt like they were being shut down. So, and that was a lot of the reason why they were the squeaky wheel. And Let me switch something over real quickly to show you what it is we're talking about now. This is the dispatch notes that came out. So the night of what happened, okay, there was a dispatch note saying Dane County calling. They advised their officer had made contact with the mother. The officer's notes indicated State Patrol picked Christopher up. Okay. There's also a follow-up comment. Dane County would like a callback if this is not the case. So what we've got here is family now starting to wonder, wait, is he missing or did they actually pick him up? Okay, now, in all honesty, when you're playing things last minute, like all this stuff, if you look at the times on this, okay, you're talking literally milliseconds apart that these calls are going on. Okay, so are they talking about the same thing? Are there misunderstandings going on? There definitely could be, completely could be. But you can't help as a family member to start questioning things. And that's, of course, what happened. The family starts questioning what the heck's going on in this case. And so they're looking at this whole thing, trying to find out what's going on. They're trying to contact multiple agencies and they feel, yeah, Seal. And that's the thing. It's extreme. It's confusing for us coming in from a side point of view. For the families to be going through this, families making phone calls to different agencies trying to find out, okay, I just need to know what's going on. Okay, is there a way you can share with us? Okay, were there any, for example, they want to know, were there any shots fired that night? They can't get that information. There's a lot of things that worry them. Okay, that the next thing that occurred within this is, let me see. Okay, that really kind of combines and adds to this whole thing is the night of the incident, there was another phone call to 911. This phone call had nothing officially to do. Jill, hey Jill, love you, my dear. Thanks for dropping by. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and love you, my dear. Love you. Thanks. This phone call really didn't initially, the person making it, think that it had anything to do with any of this stuff. Someone called up 911 to say they were driving down the highway and they saw a police officer and someone else scuffling, okay, wrestling in a ditch or, okay, one of the areas off a little, just a little off of the highway. And he was calling in because, as a concerned member of the community, he was worried for the police officer and he wanted to make sure that, okay, police knew that they had someone who could be in a scuffle, in a wrestling match, okay, whatever it is, with someone else so that they could get back up there. So let me pull this up and I'm hoping I hit this correctly. Please let me know if this does not play. Okay, I'm really hoping it plays here. Let me hit this. This is that 911 call. So let me know if it does not play, guys. But there are subtitles also. Let me pull this up just a bit so you can see those. So here we go.
Out there, and then they see them in the field. They just were checking to make sure that they were okay. But I have the caller on the line here. Okay. Yeah. Weird. I went by out in the field about 20 feet, and it was almost like he was. I just thought maybe somebody should check on it. Yeah. Everything's okay out there. They were out in.
Oh, sorry, guys. Let me go back.
Okay.
Oh, you guys didn't get the subtitles. Weird. Wonder why you're not getting subtitles. Let me find. Oh, I know why you're not. Okay, I'm going to play that again. Sorry, gang. That would help if I switch pages. Okay, let me go back. So let's go back and let me actually, I'm going to turn it up a little this time. Okay, let's try this again. See what happens.
Okay.
They see them in the field and is checking to make sure that they were okay. But I have the caller on the line here.
Okay.
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, so it was kind of weird. I went by, saw a reflective out in the field about 20 feet, and it was like he was somebody, but, it's dark, so I just thought maybe somebody should check on it.
Yeah, as far as we know, everything's okay out there. They were out in the field doing that.
Okay, so hopefully, I know the volume was rough there. I apologize. I had to boost it as much as I can, but to give you guys a kind of rundown of what the guy actually saw, he was calling in because he was driving down the highway, and about 20 feet off of the road, he saw the reflective vest of what he thought was a police officer. And that person was, in his words, it looked like wrestling. And so let's see. You could make it full screen and help. Ah, that's a good one, Louisiana. I'll do that for the next one I have. I will definitely do that. And he had seen someone who was actually wrestling. He was wrestling with about 20 feet off of the highway. So now, do we know that this was Chris? No, we have no proof whatsoever. This could have been something totally unrelated. But when you start getting messages, okay, like that last dispatch report that says that they had him in custody, okay, even though that may have been a mistake again, we don't know. And but that combined to that, you can't help but understand why a family starts getting concerned. And so it definitely is something that has made the family question things even more at this point. So on 2-3, February 3rd, now we're moving ahead, February 3rd, the state decides to reopen all of those earlier cases. Remember the speeding and all those things? They reopened all of that and vacated all judgment so that they could then dismiss it. So connected to this whole thing, at least, okay, there's not the issue with him not showing up at court and stuff like that at this point, from what the looks of it is. And on the 22nd of February, family found out from Wisconsin State Journal, one of the journalists there, that the Madison Police Department had closed Chris's case. There is no exact date. No one's been able to get that exact date yet, but the family knew nothing about this again. And it was just another one of those building type things. Why is the family not being told all these things? Okay, again, it's just transparency. And finding out through the media that the case involving your child or your fiance has been closed, there's a lot of, and yes, Crystal, there are two ways of taking things, definitely. So it's been something that's been rough for this family all the way around. It's been rough for this family because they do not know where to go. They want to trust the police. I honestly believe this from listening to this family and reading what I've read and all that. They want to trust the police in this case, but they need answers. They need answers to do that. Because this is, again, it's nothing like the person that they know. He would not be gone over the holidays and not made a phone call or stuff like that. So that's where a lot of this, all they're asking for is that communication. The problem is, again, agency involvement. it's hard to pull up the agency involvement. When you've got multiple groups to contact and all they want to do is get the answers to a couple things, it makes it rough. And it's also made it harder for the actual police departments, I'm discovering. Okay, the next thing I'm going to actually play for you, and I'm hoping it'll be louder this time. If not, I will definitely do stuff on a something else with everything. But the police all started getting involved. By the way, hi Jet's mom. I forgot to say hi to you. Hello, my dear. Mwah, I love you. And I've been thinking of you, girl. You know that. One of the things that has been happening through that is, of course, family and multiple members of the family are all calling, trying to get information. A lot of what's happened is a little bit of a passing the buck type thing. Okay, so and so is saying, oh no, call this department, that department saying, oh, well, I heard this department's doing a search and this one's saying that. And it's just gotten really, really confusing for them. And it got to the point where actually one of the other agencies finally called one of the other agencies and is like, what's going on here? Are you guys even talking to them? Okay, and trying to work with them on a just on a logical level. Are you guys talking with them? Okay, that's all they want is to be talked to. All they want is a search. We all know one of the most important things, especially we just looked at the map there. This is a large area. Okay, if you truly are doing a search, you need a coordinated grid search. Okay, people going out on their own here and there is not going to work. And that was also one of the other messages when the police actually told family members, well, we cannot tell you to go ahead and search. And then went further in saying, when they were like, oh, yeah, well, it's all on the highway. And they're like, well, it's on the highway, so you can't park there. And they were just kind of giving them more and more reasons why they shouldn't be searching rather than to go. Now, that could also be taken. They were trying to help them, because if they parked on the highway, they could get ticketed for it. So maybe the girl was trying to help them too, right? So what I want to play next for you is when the state troopers, everyone's starting to get a little more frustrated. Louisiana girl. This is actually in a small town called Janesville. And the gentleman was not from the area or anything else. But okay, that's where he actually went missing, from the highway area. Possible, Crystal, possible. So someone called, so let me go ahead. I'm going to play this. I've got audio up. I will go ahead. I may not be able to see because I am going to be at large screen. Hopefully you guys can see this well, and let's go for it. Well, or maybe not. My screen here will be fine.
He was looking through Madison Place.
He told me to
Oh,
be there to explain that to her.
every time you speak to her, you know, looking for him, you know, what
Okay, so let me real quickly pull this back down so you guys can see me okay. So that's giving you an idea how the police and are themselves frustrated. Sorry, let me pause that real quick. Okay, the police themselves are starting to get frustrated with each other at this point because everything's being tossed to everyone and no one really was pulling all the information together at this point. And basically, what it comes down to is one of two things. This guy ran, we know that. He ran. Did he continue running and he maybe injured in the accident and he's somewhere in one of the fields? Did he continue running somewhere and he's now, okay, in a different city or something like that? And in that case, this type of stuff becomes so important because we need his face out there to share it as far and wide as possible. Or, to God forbid, something else happen and it's now turned into a toss the hot potato type thing. We shouldn't even have to be thinking that direction, but I think all of us, even those who are extremely supportive of, okay, police department and law enforcement in general, have no choice but to start thinking about things like that because you know what? People are people. Okay, things happen, sometimes not planned, things happen. And oh my God, God forbid something like that did happen in this case. But it doesn't take much for something to get out of control. So we don't know which direction any of this stuff ended up going. What we do know is we have a dad of 3 who's missing. We have a 4th child who's going to be born sometime next month who may never see their dad. We've got a mom who is begging for any information that can help them track down where her son is. A fiance whose last discussion with her fiance was at 10, 11 or something like that at night, okay, before he turned around to come home after spending a day playing games on his, okay, PS4 or whatever. So there's all these questions we need to cover, and they need answers. The family now is at the place that they're not pointing fingers. I don't see them pointing fingers heavily. Yes, red flags are red flags, but they're not like going after it on that level. What they want and what they continue to push for is information about Chris. They want to know why there are no more searches happening. They were told that there would be another coordinated search around the end of March because they needed to wait for the weather to change. Okay, we are now April 10th. There is no coordinated search being scheduled whatsoever. Just a couple days ago, it was 63 degrees. So weather has changed. They want to know when will a coordinated search, the one that they were promised, happen. Okay, they want multiple records. Okay, they want to see records because every time they see records, they're getting tons of redactions and stuff that make the records hard to even understand. They want the actual reports they're requesting. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Some of these reports they probably won't ever get, and most families never would. But I can understand them wanting them. Hey, Robin, love you, my dear. Love you, Robin. Okay, some of the requested reports they've asked for. They want drone footage. Now, they don't need to have the full drone footage, but maybe get pictures showing that they were up on that day. Good night, Seal. Love you, my dear. Thanks for staying up as long as you did. I love you. Love you, my dear. GPS data showing that just proof. When a person questions things this much, they just need that proof to be comforted. They want to know if they want the officer's weapon discharge log. Was a weapon discharged that night? They can't get that. They want certain officers' body cam footage. They've been given dash cam footage, but they're not getting body cam footage outside of that area that night. So it's just getting these answers to these things that they want. Okay, they want a confirmed sit down follow up. This is what we say for every family with a missing person. Okay, if people would just sit down with them, give them 1 hour, okay, an hour and a half, just to sit there and go over the facts with them, it's going to save you hours of time later when people are starting to question things. So they want that. The last search, official search, was on December 20th. It was a drone over a creek. There were a couple little things here or there after, but after that they were like, unless we get new information, nothing happens, which that makes sense. That is normal. At some point you do have to stop searches because of weather, things like that. But at some point, weather is over. You need to go take a look. Because if families go out on their own, it puts the families in danger. Okay? They want to have this meeting. Okay, there is going to be one more search that's I know of right now that the family is coordinating. It is in no coordination with the police whatsoever. It's the family making decision that they need to keep searching. And that's going to be on April 15th for anyone who lives in the Wisconsin, Illinois, that whole area there. Hey, here she goes. Love you. On April 15th, they're going to be searching the Rock River. Family will go over to the river at times, okay, and they feel close to him there. So they're going to be searching that. This guy all of our families are important to us, every one of them. And this family, this is a comment that was made by his fiance after the footage, the dash cam footage and all was actually put out. And it shows to me the heart, the love, the dedication to him, while at the same point also truly trying to be as fair as possible to what reality is. And she said, footage has been released from State Patrol and they truly didn't do anything wrong, aside from continuing to pursue him after he crashed, which we felt was dangerous at that point. That's their opinion. Different people, okay? You run away from, that's part of the problem. People don't realize, unfortunately, police are going to chase. They are going to chase because there's potential other concerns there. And but they have their right to that belief. And the fact that they've been able to say they didn't do anything wrong other than that. They're trying to be open about that. We didn't get any footage of the search for him that evening, which involved Rock County and Janesville. We never saw use of drones or dogs in the footage we did receive. That is what we are looking for next and are waiting to get an official police report back from Janesville Courthouse. Our goal still remains to find Chris, period. That's all it is. I just wanted you, and this was written actually, if I'm catching this, this was written to the Facebook group. I just wanted you all to know how deeply we appreciate each and every one of you. Your prayers, concerns for the situation, care for his family and children, it doesn't go unnoticed. He truly has a village behind him. I could rant and rave to you about how much Chris means to us all day. If only you could have known him too. He is always smiling and joking. He never took life too seriously. He is spontaneous and carefree. He is caring, hardworking, thoughtful, and conscious about making life better for him and his children. He never leaves the house with a speck of cat hair or lint on him. He takes longer to get ready than me. His kids and his family are everything to him. He is a good person, and he will always be remembered for that no matter what the outcome of all this is. We miss him terribly every day. So guys, what we can do to share this, we do not know where this is going to go. But he is missing. And there is still a chance that he is out there. Okay, what if he hit his head during the accident and has some level of amnesia right now? and he's somewhere in Chicago or someplace like that. He could be wandering the streets. That's why we share the pictures. That's why we share his story. So again, if you guys can help me out with that, help us out. Okay, share Christopher's story. Let people know that he went missing on November 19th near Janesville, Wisconsin, that he's a 27-year-old with 3 kids and 1 on the way, 6 foot tall, 175 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. He has a tattoo on his chest of the word Tammy. Like I said, that's his mom's name, so I suspect that tattoo on his chest is in honor of his mom. I may be wrong. It's an assumption, but we'll see. He also has a scar on his thumb. He was last seen wearing all black Nike sweatsuit and black and gray Nike Air Max sneakers. He was last seen by Wisconsin State Patrol at I-39, I-90, mile marker 177.6. There is a cash reward. Right now, it's at $7,500, I think, for information that is confirmed after follow-up about his location. So if you have any information, if you guys can help us out with that, help share this out as far as we can get it. Let's be his voice. Let's help the family and make their voice louder, and support them as much as we can right now. Love you all tons. I will see you Wednesday. Okay, Sleuth and I got to do some talking as to what we're going to cover. We have some ideas lately, but till I verify with her whether we're going to go with that idea, it'll be a surprise to you guys. So love you guys tons and tons, and I will talk to you later. I'm so happy to be back with you guys. Aloha, mahalo, bye-bye. See ya. I can hit a button. Bye.